Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am building here in the world of Sulani, and this time I am building an off-the-grid house, which I am so excited to share with you. I absolutely love the way this build turned out. I think it is so pretty. It's kind of simple, but I really like it, especially the landscaping and the way I did the foundation. So hopefully you guys will like it, but definitely let me know what you guys think. It was very inspired by a picture I saw on Pinterest. I saw this beautiful house and I decided that I wanted to basically copy the front of the house exactly, because I loved the way it looked kind of nestled into the hillside. And then I did make some changes with the floor plan and the back of the build, a few with the front, but it basically looks the same. So I will put a picture somewhere here on screen so you guys can see what I was looking at. But basically what I loved so much about this picture was how it was nestled into the landscaping and the hillside. It looked like it was almost like built into its surroundings, kind of. I don't know. I really liked it a lot, so I definitely wanted to try to build it here, and I thought this lot would be perfect because we're right next to the volcano, and I just went a little bit crazy with all of the like plants and trees and tried to make it look as nestled into its environment as I possibly could. So I absolutely love the way it turned out, and I've been very excited to share it with you. It is another 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom build. I have a bigger one coming up that's a 4-bedroom family home. Yeah, that should be up tomorrow, so I apologize if there hasn't been like a whole lot of bigger builds, at least in this world, and so I do have more coming. And yeah, very excited to share that one with you guys too. But for now, I have this home next to the volcano, and I absolutely love the way it turned out, and I've just been so excited to share it with you guys. So hopefully you will like it, but definitely let me know what you guys think. And so yeah, like I said, it's an off-the-grid build, so there's technically no electricity or plumbing. I did build an outhouse, and I used a drain pipe and some buckets to look like they've collected rainwater to, you know, flush everything away and use their bathroom like a regular bathroom, and I thought that was a really good idea. And then for the kitchen, I decided not to use a stove or refrigerator. There's a few of them that were updated with this lot trait to function off the grid, but I decided since we don't have solar panels, anything that looked like it would require electricity at all, I didn't want to use. So I decided not to use those. There's the fire pit outside. I used this one that came with the Island Living Pack, and I did notice when I was playtesting that the meals that you cook with that are all pretty big meals, and so I think I'll include a barbecue before I upload this to the gallery. That way your Sims can cook, you know, some smaller meals like some hamburgers and grilled fruit and those types of things. And I think that'll just make it a little bit more practical and easier to use all the time. But if you don't want to use the barbecue, that fire pit works just fine for your Sims to eat at. The only thing is they don't have anywhere to store it. So yeah, they pretty much have to eat all of their food at once. So maybe a cooler. Let me know. Can your Sims store food in a cooler, or does it have to be in a refrigerator? I'm not exactly sure, because that might be a possibility, but either way, I was kind of just imagining that the Sims that live here, they just fish and they cook all of their food on a barbecue or on that fire pit, and they just live totally with nature in this cool house that they built all by themselves. And I thought that was a really good idea. And I wanted everything that I used to kind of look like they made it themselves. So lots of wood, and if it's not made out of wood, I was kind of imagining that they bought it at a local market or something. But here I am building that outhouse and placing the drain pipe and the water buckets. I'm so happy with the way that turned out. And then here is the bathroom. So I used a shower that came with Strangerville because it definitely looks like it was put together by hand. It looks handmade. And then I used this sink that came with Laundry Day because it works off the grid. And then I have this toilet that definitely looks handmade. I'm not exactly sure if this is a base game toilet or if it came with Outdoor Retreat. I'm not exactly sure, but I thought it looked good in here. And then I decided to use this soap dish that came with Spa Day, I believe, because since it's actually a bar of soap and not like the hand pump that would have liquid soap in it, I thought that they could have made the soap themselves too. So I definitely liked that idea. And then I have a laundry basket in here, but it's not the functional one. And later on, actually when I was playtesting the build, I decided to see if the clothesline and wash bucket would work, and it totally worked just fine, because I was under the impression that they didn't work with the off-the-grid lot trait, because I had heard a couple of times on Twitter how people couldn't get them to work for whatever reason. And so while I was building this, I decided not to place them, But then when I went to go take the screenshots, I decided to play around with it and everything seemed to work just fine. So you will see that there is a functioning laundry hamper in the bathroom, and then there is a clothesline and wash bucket behind the house. So your Sims can do laundry if you would like, but of course, if you don't want to mess around with it, you could easily delete those. And then here I did place the beehive so your Sims could collect honey. I thought that would be really nice, especially with all of the plants and stuff. I imagine it would attract a lot of bees. And then there's a little garden area. I thought about making like a full garden, but I really liked the way it looked with just the planter boxes, so I decided to do that. And then on the porch, I decided to put some of those fish traps, and then I do place a woodworking table here in just a little while. But now I'm going on into the interior, so this is going to be the kitchen. So if you do prefer to have a stove and refrigerator, I think there'll be plenty of space to do so. I just decided to do this cutting board area because I imagine the Sims that lived here fish a lot, and so what I wanted to do was kind of do this butchering station. You'll see it here in just a moment, but I go into the debug menu and pull out some knives and some wooden spoons and some fish, and I really like the way that looked. I actually had a lot of fun with the interior of this build. Every time I do an off-the-grid build, I just always really enjoy the interior, and I'm not exactly sure why that is exactly. I think it's probably because it looks so like natural and rustic, and I just absolutely love building in that style so much. But here I'm going into the debug menu, pulling out that handmade knife block, some wooden spoons, and then I find this picture that I think came with Laundry Day, if I remember correctly, and then I place a couple of fish around here, and I think this looks so cool. I was definitely really inspired by Irrelevant Sims build that she did in our Sulani Siren save file that we created. If you guys did miss it, a group of us got together and we rebuilt the entire world of Sulani, and just in time for the release of the pack 2, which was really exciting. But Irrelevant Sims was a part of that, and she built this fisherman's market. And so while I was building this kitchen, I was definitely really inspired by her build because I thought it was so cool and creative. And yeah, I thought it'd be perfect for this house because I definitely imagine the Sims fish a lot and they needed a spot to properly, you know, clean their fish and get it ready to cook and everything. And then over here is going to be the living room, and I really like the way this room turned out. I use this wicker furniture that I am so in love with. This furniture to me is like so pretty. I want it in real life. I love the design of it, the colors, the patterns, everything. I think this stuff is just so pretty. So I had to use it in here. And since there was no TV, I wasn't exactly sure which direction I wanted all of the furniture to face, but I decided to have it face the front of the build because there's beautiful views of the ocean. So I felt like that made the most sense. But over here, I am placing the woodworking table because I definitely imagine the Sims that live here are woodworking all the time. They're fixing their house, they're building furniture, they are just doing it constantly. So I definitely felt like that made a lot of sense. And then over here on the front porch, I have a couple of planters. I don't end up leaving these ones though. I place a couple of other ones in the corner. I felt like these ones were just kind of a little bit too busy. I don't know, they were just blocking the windows too much for me. I did like them because they look handmade, but I decided to use some other ones here in just a moment. And then I have the lounge chairs with a lemonade picture, so I definitely really liked that. But yeah, over here in the living room, I do have several different activities. There's the guitar. I do get a bookcase in here in just a little while, and I place this Don't Wake the Llama table because I thought that would be a fun activity for your Sims to do. I thought about placing the chess table, but I feel like that's always a go-to for placing the chess table, so I felt like having the Don't Wake the Llama was kind of a fun, different activity to use. But of course, if you want your Sims to build their logic skill, the chessboard would probably be a better way to go, because I don't think there's really any other ways for your Sims to get up that skill, at least in this build anyways. Of course, there's other ways for them to work on their logic skill. And also I do get an art easel in the bedroom because I thought it'd be kind of nice for the Sims that lived here to do some painting too. But over here I am placing this bookcase. I felt like this would be the best one to use because it's a little bit more rustic. It came with cats and dogs, but it does kind of look a little bit handmade anyway, so I thought that would look pretty here. And this room that I am using right now is actually a room shared by Grumpylynnsims. If you guys did miss it in my mermaid house build, I talked about this room build that she shared, well actually a couple of rooms, where she went through and collected all of the extra collectibles that you can find from diving in The Sims 4. At least I think it's all of them. There may be other ones, but these are things that you can't even find in the debug catalog, and she put them all in a room and put them up on the gallery. So I will link her room in the description. I'll link both of their rooms in the description and actually update my mermaid build too, because I think I forgot to link the room in that build. But yeah, she's amazing. I am so happy that she shared it because I had no idea that those extra shells existed. And when I was using the other one that you can find in the debug menu, I was like, well, I like it. It's really pretty. I'm happy to have it, but I wish there was more. And there are so many more, and they're all so, so pretty. So yeah, definitely really excited about that. But the whole living room area is done. And then over here is going to be the bedroom. This bed, you guys, is so pretty. I love this bed so much. It's a little bit fancier than I was planning on going for, and I'm not exactly sure how homemade it looks. I mean, I feel like it could be homemade, but it definitely looks a little bit more manufactured, I think. But it's too pretty to not use, especially in this room. I thought the greens and the browns, just everything worked so nicely. And then over here they have a matching dresser, and I put a few items on top of it. I do place a couple of postcards, and I'm not really sure how realistic these postcards would be because in The Sims 4, you need a computer to be able to talk to pen pals, but I decided that I liked them as just extra decoration. Oh, and here you will see I am placing some candles around. I had some regular disc lights up on the ceiling while I was building, so I could see exactly what I was doing, but I do place a bunch of candles around so your Sims could actually, you know, see in their house, and they don't use electricity. I was kind of struggling a little bit finding which lights would work off the grid because the descriptions don't say anything. The candles though I think are a given, but some of the lanterns I was a little bit unsure about. But I did find one of the lanterns that came with cats and dogs works off the grid, so I placed that on the porch, and you may notice it in the screenshots, but that one works. I kind of want to go through and find everything that actually works off the grid because I have ideas for bigger builds that I definitely want to do with using the off the grid trait, so I want to mess around with it a little bit more. And I do have the ceiling fans, by the way, which would use electricity, but I like the way they look, so I decided to leave them. But this is basically it for the build. I'm just adding the final few touches and decorations, and then we are on to the screenshot. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions that you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
You could see yourself just sitting there on my chair.